Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show. This is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. Johnny North is here with me via satellite. We are here each and every week talking pro wrestling with you, WWE, AEW, all the big happenings in the world of professional wrestling. We cover here over the next hour each and every week on Wrestling Uncensored. You can watch us on the YouTube channel. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and when you do, click the bell so you get notifications every time we are on. We were on for WrestleMania. We did WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 watch-alongs. We were on this past week, of course, for Ringside Report, Dave and Johnny Live as well. We reviewed Dark Side of the Ring, Brawl for All. We talked about the Brawl for All, what it was as a concept, and the Dark Side of the Ring documentary that aired this week on the Brawl for all that on the latest episode of Dave and Johnny Live. You can check out everything on our YouTube channel and more info for everything that we do, all the podcasts, all the YouTube videos on our official website, ringsidereport.net. We are here to talk about the fallout from WrestleMania, everything that's gone on since Mania. We've had the Raw and SmackDowns now after WrestleMania. A lot of things happening. Braun Strowman main eventing the first SmackDown now since beating Goldberg, becoming the Universal Champion. Strowman getting a win over Shinsuke Nakamura. And it appears as though we know who Strowman's next opponent will be, probably at Money in the Bank on May 10th. Bray Wyatt appearing in the Firefly Funhouse at the end of SmackDown. Seemed to make some sort of challenge to Braun Strowman, telling him he brought him into this world and it's up to him to take him out. Of course, Braun Strowman debuting in the WWE with the Wyatt family. He was one of Bray Wyatt's goons when he came on to the main roster, so that story makes a lot of sense. I'm down with that. I think it's a good first move here for Braun Strowman as the Universal Champion. I'm sure we'll talk about that. There's a lot to get to here. The Revival have been released by the WWE. Where are they headed? What does this mean for the Revival and the WWE and their tag team division? Big Show wrestled Drew McIntyre on Raw, or was it WrestleMania? Did Big Show really main event WrestleMania? I'm going to ask Johnny North. And like I mentioned, we are on the road to Money in the Bank. May 10th, it's going down. The WWE is not shutting down. The UFC may have no events. Everybody else may be shut down, every major sports league, but the WWE, business as usual. Monday nights, Raw. Friday nights, SmackDown. Wednesday night, NXT. All these shows are going on in empty arenas at the WWE Performance Center, and these shows are going to continue to go on. Money in the Bank, we were wondering whether or not it was really going to happen. You saw those commercials at WrestleMania. They said May 10th, Money in the Bank. They didn't tell you where it was going to take place, but we're all assuming now, unless things change and things get better really fast, miraculously, it's going to take place at the Performance Center, and the WWE is steadfast in booking this thing because Daniel Bryan and Cesaro will wrestle one-on-one in a Money in the Bank qualifying match on SmackDown next week. That was officially announced on SmackDown this week. So Bryan, Cesaro, one-on-one. The winner gets a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match, you win that briefcase, which earns you a title shot whenever you want. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match as well. Naomi versus Dana Brooke set for SmackDown next week in a qualifying match. So WWE going full steam ahead with Money in the Bank. I was a little bit surprised to see them going forward, not stopping, and assuming that they'll be able to continue to do shows here in the state of Florida. May 10th, Money in the Bank. It's going down. We will do a watch-along on the YouTube channel. I'm excited about it. You know, with no UFC, with no sporting events, nothing really to speak of, nothing going on, we're stuck at home. I'm happy that the WWE is pressing forward and giving us Money in the Bank, 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches in one night in under a month now on May the 10th. We're in the countdown to Money in the Bank. It feels good to count down to something. It's going to feel good to preview something. You know, this is good stuff.
Yeah, it's great that we had a pay-per-view. It's just, I think it's a shame that it's Money in the Bank, because I find ladder matches in empty arena so far, they haven't been that great. I thought the three-way ladder match at WrestleMania was okay, and the ladder match we saw in NXT this week, not so great. So I have mixed feelings about how this could be at Money in the Bank.
You never know. It depends who's in it. The ladder match on NXT this week, the women's ladder match, you didn't like that? I thought it was all right.
I thought it had good moments, but a lot of it was just a lot of nothing, actually.
I like the result of that match with Io Shirai winning that match, beating Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green, and Mia Yim in that 6-way ladder match. It's a 6-way ladder match. It can get kind of messy. You know, you really got to do that right. It's a tough match to pull off. But I like that Io Shirai, the genius of the sky, is going to be the number one contender now for Charlotte Flair and her newly won NXT Women's Championship. I think that's fantastic. Charlotte has a great number of opponents lined up for her coming up in NXT. Some of those people were in this match. Talk about Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae, Charlotte Flair has to happen, and no doubt will. Chelsea Green, Mia Yim. Any one of those women against Charlotte Flair is something new, something fresh, and I think something very solid. You know, I think those are all really good matches, but Io Shirai may be the one I wanted the most. So the fact that she won, and now we see Io versus Charlotte right away, that's money right there.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's on the pay-per-view, because now NXT is going to be busy with this Cruiserweight title tournament. So it makes sense to put that on the pay-per-view.
I hope they do. It would be a great way to boost up Money in the Bank. Io Shirai versus Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's title. Follow that. That would be tremendous. I think Charlotte had the best match on her night at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley, right? Night 2. Charlotte stole the show. Charlotte's a superstar. Charlotte's a great champion. I love Charlotte Flair. How can you not? She looks the part. She is the part. She's the real deal. She is a living legend at this point. She's a future Hall of Famer. And, I think it would have done a lot for Rhea Ripley to beat her, but if Charlotte's going to have a nice lengthy run now in NXT, all these shows are at the Performance Center, so it doesn't really matter. It's not like she's on the road anyways. No one's on the road. So having her as NXT Women's Champion is not the worst idea. Makes NXT a lot more fun to watch, a lot more interesting because Charlotte's there, the Queen is there, and now she's got all these fresh opponents like Io Shirai. The Rhea Ripley rematch is always there down the road. Rhea can get the win back and then send Charlotte back up to the main roster, you know? It's not the worst move, and it definitely makes NXT better.
I think so. Again, like you said, fresh matchups, something different. Charlotte kind of elevates NXT, and these guys also get elevated by wrestling Charlotte. It's win-win, I think.
Who are Riku and Seraph?
Talking about, what was it, Bivens Enterprise or something? They wrestled the Everrise, right?
Yeah, I like Malcolm Bivens on Twitter. That guy is hilarious. His promo was kind of weird on NXT. It was all right, but he seems like a funny guy. Seems like a talented guy. I don't know too much about him, but I've heard really good things. The two guys with him are gigantic. These are some ginormous dudes. Are they Indian? Where are these guys from? Who are these guys?
Well, they attacked Matt Riddle, I think, like 2 weeks ago, so they're building them up to face the tag team champions. However, I don't know what's going to happen with the tag team champions because Pete Dunne isn't there. He's stuck in the UK.
Right, which is a real problem, right, for the NXT brand because a lot of their guys are stuck in the UK. Like their Cruiserweight champion, Jordan, what's his name?
Devlin.
Yeah, Devlin. Jordan Devlin?
I believe it's that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's stuck, so they have to find a new champion, and then Pete Dunne He's stuck as well. He can't come to the United States. He's one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions with Matt Riddle. I don't know what they're going to do there.
I found it odd, too. They showed Finn Balor and Walter. Like, what's going to happen with that? Because they can't film anything now in NXT UK. So why did you even air that?
Yeah, I don't know why they aired that. They aired a promo package for Finn Balor versus Walter, and I was like, yes, that is the match I need to see. Please give me this match. But then I thought, well, how are they ever going to pull this off? Walter's in the UK or in Germany or Austria, or he's in Europe. You know, it doesn't matter where he is. It doesn't matter what country. Finn, I think, is in the United States, right? Unless he's out in Ireland right now. I don't know where Finn Balor is even. Who knows? Who knows? But I think he's in the U.S. I think he lives primarily in the United States. So if he's in the States and Walter's out in Germany or England or wherever, this match is not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, so I don't know why they aired a new promo for Finn Balor saying, the match is going to happen one day. Yeah, well, one day. It could be like months from now. So that was kind of puzzling a bit, but I guess they didn't have much more to put on the show because Ciampa and Gargano pretty much took up the whole show.
Yeah, that was most of the NXT show. Slow build, pal. Slow build for that Walter and Finn Balor thing. And I'm down with the program. I'm down with the slow build because Finn and Walter, when it finally does happen, that's huge. That's a gigantic match. You know it's going to deliver. You know it's money. If you put the NXT title on the line there, the UK title, Finn Balor is a legitimate threat for Walter, but you could also believe Walter just beating him. Fantastic. That's a great match. Those two guys, two of the top performers in the company, you can't go wrong with that. And whenever they decide to give that to us, good. I'll be happy. You know, I'm willing to wait for that one. And make them wait. Make us wait, because you keep doing these little video packages. Eventually, when this match happens, it's going to be even bigger.
You're right, but I feel like they're already out of video packages at this point. I mean, you keep doing it over and over. I'm kind of going to get bored and sick and tired of it. I want you to move on to something else, actually.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right, but hopefully we get to see this match soon. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen. Riku and Saraf beating a couple Canadian boys there. Ever Rise representing Quebec, right? They got some TV time this week, so that was cool. NXT beating AEW in the ratings as well by 400 viewers.
Yeah, but that's it. It was kind of weird, though. They beat them in the U.S., by the way. This is only in the U.S.
Right.
Beat them in viewership, but in the ratings, they still lost because they didn't win the demographic. And if you don't win the demographic, you lose in the ratings. So it's still got a higher rating than AEW. So it's kind of like a half win, half loss.
I thought AEW was a better show this week.
I thought on their weaker shows, actually. That tag match on AEW this week was terrible. Bowling shoe ugly.
Which tag match?
It was Kenny Omega and Nakazawa against the Best Friends. Horrific.
That was fantastic. I love that match. Are you kidding me? You didn't like that? I thought that was great. What did you not like about that match?
Oh, let's go over the many things I didn't like about this match. One was the dive that Orange Cassidy did. Clearly the referee saw this, yet no disqualification. Yeah, you could just say whatever, but everyone's always like whatever to that.
AEW,
then there was
man.
Nakazawa pulling his underwear down and then putting it in Trent's face afterwards, and then putting it in Kenny's face.
Accidentally.
It's just so stupid.
It's one of his moves.
Bad.
It's one of his moves. It's Nakazawa, man.
And the baby oil stuff doesn't make any sense. I get it, you're oily, but if I chop you and you have oil, it's still going to hurt, though. It doesn't just slide off. I've chopped guys that have oil. It doesn't make any sense. That spot is stupid.
I find it funny. I find it fully amusing. I love all the spots where they're falling their heads into the other guy's crotch, really working the crotch moves on the Best Friends. I thought all that stuff was fantastic. Great comedy match. I loved it. Jericho's commentary made it even better.
Well, I think that's what saved AEW this week. I think Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho might be the best commentary team they've had in a while. So that was really, really good. They were way better than I think Cody and Kenny were, easily.
Best in the world at everything he does. That's something Chris Jericho used to say all the time on WWE TV. I'm the best in the world at everything I do. And he is. He's the best at everything. At commentary seems like the future for Chris Jericho. If Chris Jericho wants to stay in wrestling for the next 30 years, put him in that commentary desk. He's going to be fantastic. Like, Jericho is so good on commentary. If Jericho was doing that full time, you might look at him as the greatest color commentary guy of all time. Like, he was that good.
Oh, yeah, and just think about it. I mean, that was their first time doing it. I imagine they keep doing this. They're going to get even better, actually, because you could tell Shivani was, like, warming up to Jericho. Like, I don't think he fully got his act, but eventually he put in some things that he understood, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get what you're talking about. Some of the references from WCW, like, it was good.
I think Shivani and Jericho is my favorite AEW commentary team. Of all the pairings and all the trios they've put together, I don't think I've been as entertained by a commentary team as I was by Shivani and Jericho. I don't think any commentary team added as much to the product, as much to the show as Jericho, especially. You know, I think Jericho with Jim Ross would be amazing too. Maybe Jericho, JR, and Shivani all together could work as well, but I like a two-man booth. Personally, I'm not a real fan of the three-man. And Jericho and Shivani, I thought, had great chemistry, and right off the bat, it was just like, wow. Jericho is really good at this. Really good. I don't know. You know, it was reminiscent of Bobby Heenan. I was like, wow, I don't think I've heard a better color guy in pro wrestling since, like, Bobby the Brain. CM Punk was really good on commentary, but I think Jericho was better. He was more free. You know, when Punk did it, he was still in WWE, and Punk's not Jericho. You know, Jericho's he's a different type of entertainer. He's funnier, you know? Doesn't take himself as seriously.
Well, I really found Jericho made that match between Britt Baker and I forget the other girl, but they made that match so much better. Yeah, against Sheeta, yeah. It made that match so much better. Their commentary just added so much more emotion to that match.
Jericho was really behind Britt Baker. You know, he added so many layers to that match. It was fantastic. And then when Britt's nose got busted open and she was bleeding, man, Britt Baker really impressed me this week. Her facial expressions when she was bleeding and she's smiling through the blood just gushing out of her nose, that was a sight to behold. That was an iconic moment for AEW. Britt Baker's face, the smile from the dentist, Britt Baker, that was incredible stuff. I really was blown away by that match. Hikaru Shida getting the win, the way that she kept on Britt's face, even after she was bloody, still hitting her with kicks and knees to the head. That was really solid stuff. And even earlier on in the match when Britt just punched Shida a couple times right to the head, and Jericho popped for it really huge. He was like, oh, potatoes! Look at those stiff potatoes! That was great stuff from Chris Jericho, selling it, you know, explaining to us what was going on, but staying within the realm of pro wrestling, not giving it away too much, you know. That was great stuff, and that match was just fantastic stuff. Britt Baker is a badass.
Well, I thought at first there wasn't a lot of chemistry between the two until you got to that botch spot where it looked like, I think, she insecuried her, I think, right in her nose, it looked like. And that's what caused her to bust the nose. And then once that happened, it seemed like the level of intensity just rose from there. And seeing Britt in that situation, which I don't think she's been in too many times, she really, I think, rose to the occasion there.
Yeah, you can go either way when that type of thing happens to you, right? In the ring, Johnny North, you're a pro wrestler. You know of these types of situations when you get busted open the hard way, you get busted open for real, was not supposed to happen. It's a mistake in the ring. Something happens, and you can either fight through it and use it to continue to sell the story and enhance the match, or you can kind of wilt under the pressure, under the pain, under the fear of your own blood, and you can kind of, go through the motions or just go home altogether, just wrap the match up, right? Just kind of say, okay, that's enough. Let me pin you. Let's go quick to the finish. Let's skip over what we had planned and shorten this match up right here and right now. But that's not what Britt Baker did. She went through that whole match, and she took a lot going forward. Like, it seemed like everything that they had planned for that match, Britt Baker went ahead and did. I don't think that they held back any kind of spot after her nose got busted open. They went on and had that match, and it was incredible.
Well, you saw at the end that Sheeta nailed her with the knee to the face for the finish, which made even more sense because her nose was busted open. So, yes, of course, hit her in the nose. That's a great finish, actually. But also, like, usually AEW women matches, they're usually the low point of the show. And I feel like this week it was the high point of the show.
Yeah, I think it was the match with the most drama on the show, without a doubt, right?
Well, sadly, I thought Cody and Shawn Spears could have been, but again, there was just a bunch of ridiculousness in that match.
What was ridiculous about that? I thought that match was fantastic.
It was good, but like so many times there should have been a disqualification. Like, it's so stupid that Shawn Spears can push somebody like in the crowd and they can push you back and they can hold you as well. That also happened, by the way, in the Britt Baker and Sheeta match as well. Like, holding the opponent for the fans, like, that's stupid. That should not happen.
Well, the wrestlers, they're ringside. The referee doesn't have full control. There are very few disqualifications in AEW. I think there's been one in AEW history, right? So it doesn't really happen. And Shawn Spears pushed him first.
Fine, that's fine. But there was also a belt shot. There was also a guardrail. And there was also a table. Like, it's just way too much. For a match that should have...
The table happened to be outside the ring, and Shawn Spears happened to toss Cody out of the ring through it, which was an incredible spot, by the way. That was nuts. That was a wild bump. I thought the match was over right then and there. I was like, okay, Shawn Spears is going to advance in this tournament with a countout. Cody's just going to get counted out here because he just took a match-finishing bump through the table, but they kept going somehow. And the finish to that match I thought was fantastic. Cody Rhodes pinning Shawn Spears in a figure four leg lock, which you never see. And Chris Jericho, said something that, I was thinking. He's like, I've never seen anybody lose that way. I've never seen a match finish that way. You see it so often where, a guy will have another guy or a woman will have another woman in a figure four leg lock. And the person who's in the leg lock will have their shoulders down, 1, 2, but then they'll get back up to avoid getting counted. But here's Shawn Spears. The pain was too much in the figure four. He's down 1, 2, 3, and the match just ended. I've never seen that finish before, John. You've seen a lot of wrestling, just like I have. Have you ever seen that finish before?
I feel like Ric Flair's done it before, where someone like held them down or something. I feel like it may have happened in the match with Hogan at Uncensored when Flair won the title. I think someone like sprayed Hogan in the eyes and he couldn't get up.
Sherry.
Is it possible it was that?
I think it was Sherry. But sometimes, like, I've seen Flair do it where somebody on the outside is holding the guy's hands down. Right. He's down on the mat and somebody outside the ring is grabbing his hands and is like pulling them down to the mat while the referee's like distracted by Flair or whatever, or the referee doesn't see it for some reason. But I've never seen it just clean like that where the guy is like, so much pain from the figure four, 1, 2, 3. I've never seen it a clean finish where somebody just goes down to the figure four via pinfall. No shame in that. You got pinned. Cody Rhodes, makes sense. I liked it. It was cool. It was unique. It's something that you see often in wrestling teased for a 2 count. But, I think that if you're going to tease it for a 2 count, once in a while, it should be a 3 count. Otherwise, what's the point of ever teasing it for a 2 count? We all know it's just a 2 count. Like when Roman Reigns hits you with a Superman punch and then he pins you for a 2 count, we all know that we're waiting for the spear for the 3. We're not going to get a pinfall on the 2 count. To, stop that conditioning of the audience, you should pin a guy on a Superman punch once in a while. You should beat a guy 1, 2, 3 on some of your false finishes so that those false finishes actually feel like finishes when you're trying to pull them off later on, right? It's just common sense. It makes a lot of sense. Like, why go 1, 2 if you know this certain move is never going to pin a guy? Why even attempt it? These moves should work once in a while.
No, it's a good point, but this was also after he hit his finisher like twice and kicked out, so he needed to do something else that would work. I'm glad this worked, and also this, I guess, was the first time he wasn't knocked out. So it was the first time someone was in pain and he just was pinned because of the pain. I guess that's the first time I've seen that.
I liked it. I liked the finish. I thought it was smart. I thought it was different. Cody Rhodes now advances in the AEW TNT title tournament. He will take on the winner of Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. I'm not sure when that match will take place. It seems like we're only getting one of these matches a week on Dynamite for this tournament in the opening round.
Makes sense. I mean, it's supposed to go all the way to their supposed pay-per-view of Double or Nothing, right? So, yeah, one match a week. Yeah, makes sense.
And Double or Nothing was supposed to be what, end of May?
May 23rd.
Yeah, probably not happening. Pineapple Pete really should have been escorted from the building. I think that's your point about the fans interfering. That Pineapple Pete, Chris Jericho was getting on him. He really, he was causing trouble. He was getting mad about Pineapple Pete, Chris Jericho was, and I agree with him. That Pineapple Pete, they should have kicked him out.
Jericho was great. Hopefully he's going to be on commentary again this week. But I know JR on commentary for the Moxley and Hager match.
Is he on commentary for Moxley Hager?
I don't know if he's going to be there live, but apparently he's going to do at least for the match. So maybe they taped JR doing commentary, but he is going to do commentary for that match.
Those promo packages that they aired for the Jon Moxley-Jake Hager match, tremendous stuff. The narrator, I think, was the same guy they used for the UFC countdowns. It felt like a UFC countdown. It felt real. It felt solid. You're showing Hager doing his MMA training. He's saying that he was supposed to fight for Bellator, but of course the fight's not happening, so he's been in fight camp, and he's going to take it to Jon Moxley, and it's for the AEW Championship. And I was fully into that. I thought that was a great promo package, and it got me excited for this match when I wasn't really before. But, a good promo video can do wonders, and now I really want to see Jake Hager versus Jon Moxley for the AEW title. And I wonder if Hager's got a shot here. I think it's going to be a rough and tumble match. I think these guys are going to beat on each other pretty hard. It's going to be a rough one, a violent match, which is something I want to see. I'm looking forward to this one. Is it coming up next week here on Dynamite?
I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not next week, it's the week after, but I'm pretty sure it was. I felt like they said 2 weeks ago before. But either way, when this match happens, I'm expecting Moxley's going to win because this is his first defense of the AEW Championship. I can't imagine he's going to lose in his first title match. Hager looked good. He might even cheat to win. Who knows? But I'm expecting Moxley should retain.
It will be Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager coming up Wednesday night on Dynamite. The next episode of Dynamite that will air coming up here on Wednesday, April the 15th, will be Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I've been loving Dynamite every week. It's a high point to the week. It's a lot of fun to watch AEW. The show is so damn good. I love the Kenny Omega, Michael Nakazawa promo there that they did in their trailer. Nakazawa wanting to be best friends as their tag team name. And he's telling Kenny, yeah, we should be the best friends because we're best friends. And Kenny's like, well, there's already a team called the Best Friends. He's like, look, we're really best friends. You're the EVP. Just change it. Just change it. And then the real best friends show up, and they're like, we'll wrestle you in a match for the name Best Friends. That was a great promo. It was a lot of fun. It was silly. It was funny stuff, and that's what that match was about. Johnny North, You didn't like that comedy wrestling stuff. I thought it was solid stuff. What did you think of Brody Lee in his squash match of Lee Johnson?
I mean, it was pretty standard squash match. He pretty much just ran over him easily. If anything, I thought the promo was not much of anything. He's just the guy dressed up nice. That's it. It's not the best Brody Lee McMahon promo.
Yeah, that's it. It was just Brody Lee with 3 guys from the Dark Order. 2 of them were wearing like sport jackets, and not sport jacket, but like a athletic top.
Blazer.
No, they weren't wearing blazers. They were wearing like a track jacket, right? 2 of the guys were wearing one of them was wearing like a blazer with a tie, and the other 2 were wearing like track jackets, and Brody Lee was berating the guys wearing a track jacket, saying they weren't dressed appropriately like the other guy, and they weren't going to get opportunities, and this and that. It was a whole take on the WWE's dress code, right?
Well, I think that's the whole thing about Vince, how, like he only looks at guys that look good, so if you don't look good, then you're not going to be used kind of thing.
That's right, and that's that was the promo this week from Brody Lee. He had a squash match. Lance Archer as well had a squash match. Jake the Snake Roberts opened the show with a promo talking about Lance Archer. Archer's match I'm looking forward to against Colt Cabana. I think that's coming up this week on Dynamite too, right? I think that's the match for the tournament this week.
I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised because I guess they're going from one side to the other for the tournament. But either way, like however this all comes together, I'm expecting still it's going to be Cody and Archer in the end.
Yeah, it will be Archer versus Cabana this coming Wednesday night. Jericho and Tony Schiavone will continue to be the announce team. Britt Baker will be wrestling. They're advertising Britt Baker in action. Chucky T will wrestle Kip Sabian. And then JR, officially, Jim Ross will return to call Jon Moxley versus Jake Hager. This is official from the Tony Khan AEW Twitter page here. Just taking a look at it. I'm seeing the images here for the big matches coming up. Hager, Moxley, and Cabana and Archer. That match is going to be fun. But Johnny North, it seems like you don't like comedy wrestling too much, so maybe you won't like the Colt Cabana match.
Well, it's going to be a nice mixture, right? Because Vance Archer is far from comical. So Colt Cabana, we see him sometimes. He can be serious, so he might do some little funny things here and there, but for the most part, I think he's going to have to be serious to win that match.
Did you just call him Vance Archer? That was his WWE name, man. It's Lance.
Vance, it's all the same.
It's not, man. Lance Hoyt was Vance Archer and is now Lance Archer. He was Lance Hoyt in TNA, then he went to WWE, and he was Vance Archer, and now he's in AEW and in New Japan as well as Lance Archer. He's combined the 2 names, his TNA name and his WWE name, to make an AEW name. Good for him. It's doing well. He's super awesome. AEW is a whole lot of fun to watch. WWE, well, maybe not as much. Maybe they need Pineapple Pete. Or maybe we need to celebrate Triple H a little bit more. Yes, the WWE is planning a massive Triple H celebration, and I'm going to tell you about that, as well as what was the real main event of WrestleMania. Was it The Big Show and Drew McIntyre? We'll discuss that and more WWE when we come back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. How about it? Let me tell you something, Johnny North. Let me tell you something. I want to tell you about our good friends over at Stitcher. At Stitcher, you could download awesome shows like the Ringside Report network of shows, Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report MMA. You can download or stream our shows on Stitcher. And now, Stitcher offering you the Ringside Report universe as part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on Stitcher Premium. Besides all of our shows, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo device, or in your car, on demand, ad-free. Stitcher Premium. It's a fantastic service. You get Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Just $4.99 a month or $34.99 a year. And if you go to Stitcher.com/premium and sign up today, that is Stitcher.com/premium, use the promo code RINGSIDE, you'll get a free month of Stitcher Premium. Stitcher.com/premium, promo code RINGSIDE for a free month. Let Stitcher know that we sent you and continue to support the Ringside Report Network. We appreciate it very much, as you are doing right now on the premiere edition of the show on YouTube on the Super Chat. Thank you for sending your questions our way. Johnny North will be on the chat here, answering all of your questions on the premiere edition every Saturday morning of Wrestling Uncensored. If you're listening to this podcast, you can watch the premiere edition of Wrestling Uncensored every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on our YouTube channel. You can also watch this show on our Facebook Live Facebook page. Go search Ringside Report on Facebook to watch us as well. Like our Facebook page, help us out, keep us going, and keep supporting the show. I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at IP Vanish. Wait a second. I just vanished. When I tried to tell you about our friends at IP Vanish, Johnny North, did you see that? I vanished. Wow, that ad is just too powerful, man. It disappeared me.
You're magic now.
I just disappeared. What just happened there? Good God Almighty, Johnny North. All right, let me tell you about our friends over at IP Vanish. I think we'll be all right here. So these days, security on the internet is a concern. Identity theft, fraud, privacy. Hackers now are at home with time on their hands, just like you are, and they've got nothing better to do than to try and attack you. There are hackers who are spending their days lurking to find someone to attack. They can get access to all of your stored information, passwords, credit cards, etc. Keep them out now with a secure VPN like IP Vanish. You need this. IP Vanish for the month of April is now just 73% off. That's incredible. What a deal. Instead of $143.88 a year, pay just $39 for the first year. With this offer, IP Vanish will throw in 250 gigabytes of secure cloud storage. Back up all your important data to the cloud at no extra charge. This is a fantastic deal for the Ringside Report universe. We need you to stay healthy and secure. That's why we recommend what we use, IP Vanish. Sign up right now. Open up a browser window. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net. That's vpn.ringsidereport.net. And when you subscribe, it'll include a 7-day money-back guarantee using our link. The Ringside Report Network will receive a small commission that'll help us keep producing more content here for you. vpn.ringsidereport.net, IP Vanish. And now, back to the show. All right, welcome back. This is Ringside Report. Nope, botched that one. Take two, Johnny North. I'm taking two. See, these are the things you only see on the YouTube show or the Facebook show. You know, when you watch us on video, you see when we screw up for the radio show, and I take two. I botch. Sometimes I say the wrong name of the show.
To be fair, though, when I listen to it on my Echo, it always says Ringside Report, Wrestling Uncensored. So you're not really wrong in a sense, because Wrestling Uncensored was always the offshoot, right?
Well, Wrestling Uncensored is a division of Ringside Report Network and the Ringside Report Industries.
So there you go. I mean, right. You're okay.
Okay. Take two. All right. Welcome back. This is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. There he is. Big Johnny is here via satellite. We are talking professional wrestling, as we do each and every week. Why do we do it? Because we love professional wrestling. We are not doing it for any other reason other than our deep and profound love of professional wrestling and talking wrestling, right, Johnny? I mean, why else would we do this show? I mean, we're not doing it for the money. We're not doing it for the fame or the women or the adulation or anything that comes with it, because those things don't really come with it. We do it because we love talking about pro wrestling. We love the pro wrestling, right?
Well, you and I have been doing this banter back and forth since like 2005, so why not put it on the air?
Yeah, we've been doing it since 2005, not even on the air, right? Just talking about pro wrestling, kind of like this, just on the phone or whatever, in person, hanging out. Remember when we used to hang out in person? Remember those days? Those are crazy. Yeah. And now it's on the radio and on YouTube and on Facebook and on podcasts, and people listen to us now. Now it's not just us and some guy in the corner listening to us. Now it's like, thousands of people around the world.
And it's cool hearing from all of them.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's very cool. We appreciate everybody supporting, everybody listening, and everybody watching. We love you all, and we hope that you all stay safe, remain indoors, wash your hands, and we will get through this together, the Wrestling Uncensored universe. All of us, we are strong. We are the strongest show. We are the strongest team, and you are listening to this, and you are with us. You are strong. We are strong. The strength is ridiculous here. We're like Braun Strowman strong.
Don't talk to strangers, right?
Don't talk to strangers. I mean, definitely don't talk to strangers. And if you're going to talk to a stranger, try to remain at least 6 feet away from them at all times. Braun Strowman. yeah, get gloves, whatever. Braun Strowman wrestled Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown this week. He beat him with a power slam. Not much of a match. Then Bray Wyatt showed up in the Firefly Funhouse, and it seems like we're on the road to Braun Strowman versus The Fiend at, I'm guessing, Money in the Bank on May 10th, which makes a lot of sense to me. Do you think they give the title back to The Fiend, or do they keep this Braun Strowman run going?
I think it depends what kind of match. If this is going to be another Firefly Funhouse match, then I think Bray Wyatt's going to win. But if it's going to be a regular kind of match, then I think Braun Strowman will win. Because we've seen before, The Fiend can be defeated.
By Goldberg.
And who beat Goldberg?
Right, Braun Strowman. But do you really want The Fiend to go from losing to Goldberg to then beating John Cena in that weirdo Firefly Funhouse match to then losing again in his next high-profile match to Braun Strowman? Like, you've built The Fiend into such a major character, into such a big deal, that having him lose again here seems like it would do an extreme disservice to the build of The Fiend and making him into one of your next big draws and moneymakers. I think you give the title right back to The Fiend. I would.
Well, I would have never taken the title off The Fiend to begin with, but they've done that. So if you're going forward in a different direction, you might as well stay the course, in my opinion. And if you're going to go with a new champion like Braun Strowman, I think The Fiend is an excellent opponent to help build them.
I think the direction was make Roman stronger by having him beat Goldberg. But Roman's not around. Goldberg's not around. The Fiend is around, and so is Braun Strowman. Who are you going to push? Who are you going to build going forward? The Fiend or Braun Strowman? I think they have more faith in The Fiend right now. I think they've always had more faith in Bray Wyatt. So I would not be surprised to see them give the title back to The Fiend. And honestly, I think it's a good move because it would kind of erase the memory of the whole Goldberg to Braun Strowman fiasco. Just pretend like it never happened. Just act like, no, The Fiend never lost the title to Goldberg. He's been champion the whole time. Yeah, sure, the title went from Fiend to Goldberg to Braun, but then The Fiend wound up beating Braun, so, Fiend doesn't really lose anything in the process. You keep him strong because, sure, he lost to Goldberg, but then he just beat the guy who beat Goldberg. So The Fiend remains strong, and you can wait for Roman Reigns to come back to beat The Fiend, keep the title on The Fiend until Roman's ready to come back, and then have Roman beat The Fiend and have his crowning moment, which is what should have happened to begin with. It should have been The Fiend versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. That should have been the match that was booked. They did this Goldberg nonsense, and now we're stuck with Braun Strowman because of the WWE's mistakes. They could have just kept the title on The Fiend the whole time. But no. They could have scratched that whole title match altogether. Like if The Fiend was champion and he was supposed to wrestle Roman, you could have done Fiend versus John Cena instead for the title. Fiend wins. It's fine. Just keep on going. It should have been Fiend versus Roman the whole time. And I think you should just put the title back on The Fiend. Although a lot of people are saying, well, wait a second, if you do Fiend versus Roman the whole time, then you couldn't have had Cena and you wouldn't have had that Firefly Funhouse. And some people seem to have enjoyed that thing, which I didn't understand. We were watching that thing, right? We were watching WrestleMania together. You can watch our watch-along. You can see us react live to the Firefly Funhouse. We did not like it. Spoiler alert, we thought it was terrible. But I was watching the Firefly Funhouse match with Johnny North, with my brother, with AJ DeLesio. We were all at our own homes on video doing the YouTube show via satellite, And none of us liked that Firefly Funhouse. But then Fred Garcia, also from Ringside Report, he jumped on the show and he said he watched the Firefly Funhouse and he liked it. So some people did like it. I saw some people on our chat saying they liked it. One guy was really mad at us for not liking it. Did you see that YouTube comment, Johnny North? We got one comment on YouTube that was very angry. Some guy was like, these guys are idiots for not liking it. But the way he put it, he actually put himself down. It was actually kind of funny. I'll show you later. It was ridiculous. But, some people did like this match, Johnny North. Are you surprised? Have you had a chance to watch it again? Did we miss something? It wasn't a match, right? It wasn't a wrestling match.
I think that's the main thing. Our main problem is that this wasn't a match. But if you look at it as not a match and more like skits, then I guess some people could enjoy it as long as you could make sense of what the heck was going on. I guess there was some logic to it, but to me, it wasn't very clear exactly what the heck was going on and what was the main purpose of this. To me, it was just a bad drug trip. That's what it looked like.
Look, maybe I shouldn't admit this, but I've had bad drug trips. This is not what it looks like, Johnny North. All right, just to tell you, in the past, in my younger days, let's just say, don't do drugs, kids. But, I've been there, done that, and that's not what this looks like. People are saying this is like an acid trip. That's not what an acid trip is like, all right? Just so you guys know. It has nothing to, anyway, I'm not going to say what I... Anyways, the Firefly Funhouse is less fun than that, all right? It's not as good. It's really bad. Firefly Funhouse was terrible. I really didn't like that thing. It was not fun. It was super weird. Man, that was some awful stuff. Bray Wyatt and John Cena, it was just a series of skits, but they weren't really saying anything. There was no point to it. They didn't... it was just a lot of cheap stuff, the Vince puppet saying, oh, there's good stuff, pal. He didn't say stuff. He said the other S word that I can't repeat on the radio, right? But, yeah, it's okay, Dean Ambrose said that stuff in his podcast when he talked to whoever, Jericho, when he left WWE, that Vince says that a lot. Okay, so Vince says that a lot. So the Vince puppet said that. And it was just a cheap pop. It was a cheap pop to, get people talking and get people say, ooh, I can't believe they went there. But, really? John Cena shows up pretending to be Hulk Hogan in the late 90s. Okay, so John Cena is being compared to Hulk Hogan. Big shocker. We've been comparing John Cena to Hulk Hogan for over a decade now. Since, 15 years John Cena's been compared to Hulk Hogan. You put this on TV and all of a sudden it's supposed to be a big deal. They weren't making any kind of point. And they weren't having any kind of wrestling match. It was just a bunch of garbage. It was just a bunch of nonsense. It was just an elongated Bray Wyatt promo where the guy says a bunch of nothing and people think he's super deep. If you don't understand him, it don't mean that he's right, as the great Jay-Z once said. Okay? You don't understand all the BS that he writes, all the BS that he's saying. It's just nonsense. It's a lot of jibber-jabber, okay? And I don't want to hear that stuff anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people liking it. If you like that, I don't know what else you're watching on TV, but it's probably not the same TV shows I'm watching, right? And I understand in pro wrestling there's a little bit of something for everybody, but what I'm looking for in pro wrestling is probably not what those people are looking for who like the Firefly Funhouse. If you like the Firefly Funhouse, you and I don't agree on basic principles of what pro wrestling is supposed to be. That's it.
Well, again, the main problem there is, like, associate this with pro wrestling, because that was not pro wrestling. That was just a bunch of skits thrown together, and it had a weird ending that I still don't understand, because, like, so what, John Cena just disappeared and that's it?
Yeah, he disappeared. We had two of those matches, where the ending kind of left us like, okay, so John Cena disappeared into thin air at the Firefly Funhouse, and AJ Styles is maybe dead or buried alive. Like, what happened to AJ? Did they dig him out? Where's AJ Styles? He didn't show up on Raw this week. I'm seriously concerned for AJ Styles' well-being. I think Undertaker killed him in the boneyard. He left him there for dead.
Well, he did tweet that he's still alive. So
that's
there's
good.
that. Yeah.
Oh, he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal one. You better believe he's alive. Wow. Firefly Funhouse. I am really glad that we are done with that. However, we might not be, If some people liked it, chances are they'll do it again. Was Big Show versus Drew McIntyre the real main event of WrestleMania? So Drew McIntyre winds up wrestling the Big Show on what was the main event of Raw. It was the last match on Raw, but apparently it took place after WrestleMania. So Drew is interviewed in the ring. They're saying this is 20 minutes after his match with Brock Lesnar. He's talking about winning the championship. Big Show shows up, wants a match. They have a match. Was that the real main event of WrestleMania, or was it the dark main event of WrestleMania that happened to air on Raw? Officially, what are you calling that?
Well, the way I looked at that it was pretty much WrestleMania 9 all over again, where Bret got screwed against Yoko, and then Hogan came out and wanted a match, and that wasn't officially supposed to happen, but it happened, and Hogan won the title. So to me, that's the way I looked at that. And in the end, I mean, Drew's still the champion, so nothing changed.
Yeah, so it wasn't at all like WrestleMania 9, because at WrestleMania 9, Hogan won the title in about 25 seconds from Yoko after a big boot and a leg drop, brother. Here, they wrestled a match that lasted several minutes, and Big Show didn't become the new champion. It's nothing like 9.
Well, they made you think that maybe it would be.
What is Bret Brock Lesnar in this situation?
He didn't really get screwed, though, as well. I mean, he jobbed cleanly. Bret definitely got screwed.
Brock is no Bret, and Drew is no Yoko. And Big Show's no Hulk Hogan. All right? This is not WrestleMania 9, brother. Drew McIntyre got the win, beating Big Show for his first defense of the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre is the WWE Champion. What do you think he does at Money in the Bank? Who is his challenger? Is it Seth Rollins? Is there another heel possibly on Raw to face off against Drew McIntyre here? Looking up and down the Raw card this week, I don't see many heels. Aleister Black is a babyface. He got a win. Kevin Owens is there. He's a babyface. Seth Rollins beat just a jobber in a squash match. Are they rebuilding Seth for perhaps a run at Drew? Like, who else right now? Other than perhaps bringing Brock back, but I don't think they're doing that right away.
No, you're right. I think it's either Seth or maybe you throw a curveball and give Kevin Owens the shot. Because Kevin said it's time to move on to something else, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Kevin.
Babyface on babyface title match, though?
Yeah, there's no crowd. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You just want to see a good match, right?
Who's going to cash in at Money in the Bank?
Well, who's in Money in the Bank first? I mean, we got to get to there so far. I mean,
okay,
right now,
how about this? Different question. Who's going to lose their title at Money in the Bank? Who's going to get cashed in on at Money in the Bank? Drew, Braun, maybe The Fiend, possibly, or one of the women's champions, Bayley, perhaps, Becky. Maybe Shayna wins Money in the Bank, cashes in on Becky. Who loses the title in a Money in the Bank cash-in on May 10th? Somebody's going to lose. Somebody's going to cash in that night, right? They usually do a that night cash-in.
Well, there's going to be 2 briefcases, right? So probably one cash-in, one hangs on to it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Becky because she's had the title for so long.
Any guesses on who takes it from Becky? I would guess Becky too, but maybe Bayley, because Bayley's held it for a long time. They keep teasing that Sasha Bayley thing. Like, in the 6-way or 5-way or whatever it was at WrestleMania, they kept teasing like, oh, is Sasha going to turn on Bayley here? Are they going to... And they kind of did, but then in the end, they were all friends. But then this week on SmackDown, Bayley is in the ring with Sasha. They're celebrating that Bayley's still champion. Tamina shows up. She wants a match with Bayley, and Bayley's like, okay, look, you can wrestle me, but you got to beat Sasha Banks first. And if you beat her, you can wrestle me. And Sasha's like, I didn't agree to this. Sasha seemed a little bit upset, so they're continuing to tease the Bayley versus Sasha feud, the breakup of their teaming, right? So maybe Sasha wins Money in the Bank and boom, takes that opportunity to cash in on Bayley. I could see that. I think it's probably going to happen on the women's side because both Becky and Bayley have been champions for a very long time. But Becky makes a lot more sense, I think, because to beat Becky, you kind of have to catch her, right? You can't beat Becky clean because she's too strong. She's too much of a star. You don't want her to lose clean. So if you're going to take the title off of her, which, she's held it for over a year now, if you're going to take that title off of her, it'll be in a Money in the Bank type cash-in where, maybe she has a long match and she's caught kind of afterwards and she's not ready and then she gets beat, right? It's a good way. The Money in the Bank is a good way to take the title off somebody while they remain strong. They don't have to lose in a real way to lose the title. And Becky Lynch is one of those people where if you are going to take the title off of her, you want her to remain strong after, right? So my bet, I think kind of like you, would be Becky Lynch probably losing her title to some sort of cash-in of Money in the Bank. Maybe Shayna, somebody like that. Maybe Bianca Belair. She's on Raw now. She's a babyface. It wouldn't really make sense, but I could see that being the way that Shayna manages to beat Becky and become champion.
Well, this is a guess right here because I'm not sure who Becky's going to wrestle at the pay-per-view, but I'm guessing it might be Nia Jax. And Nia Jax might weaken Becky so that she's vulnerable for an attack. But also Bayley might be vulnerable too because she's probably going to face Tamina.
Yeah. Hey, it makes sense.
Either way.
Makes sense either way. I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank. I'm happy that the WWE is doing it. Asuka beat Liv Morgan via the Asuka lock submission. Could be Asuka and Becky at Money in the Bank as well. Don't forget about that. They have unfinished business. They're never done.
Yeah,
right?
I could see that for sure. It seemed like, because now they're kind of getting away from the Kabuki Warriors, it looks like. It looks like they're done as a team. So maybe, Asuka's a single star.
Continuing over on Raw and what we saw here this week, a lot of Street Profits, Garza, and Theory. Like, my goodness, those guys wrestled a match at WrestleMania. That was enough, okay? Then on Raw, it's like, rematch from WrestleMania. Why? Who needed this again? Street Profits beat Garza and Theory by disqualification when Zelina Vega interferes. So then Bianca Belair jumps in because she's with the Street Profits because she's married to Montez Ford. So Bianca jumps in and she starts fighting Zelina and she wins that by disqualification. And then, of course, a 6-person tag team match playa because, hey, let's stretch this segment out for another match. And it's Street Profits and Bianca Belair getting the win over Zelina, Garza, and Austin Theory when they get a pinfall victory there. My goodness, I had enough at WrestleMania, and then they gave me 3 different matches between these 6 here on Raw. Like, what was that? That was ridiculous, man. They really have nothing, right? Like, just show old Ric Flair matches. Like, honestly, if you're going to give me this, Like, I'd rather just watch old matches at this. Just re-air Bret Hart and Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13. Just give me old Bret matches. Just give me the best of Bret Hart instead. I know in a couple weeks they're going to give me the best of Triple H, and I don't want to see that either. I want to see that like I want to see another Street Profits versus Austin Theoretical and the Garza Man. Forget about that. I don't need to see Hector Garza and Austin Theoretical.
Well, that lasted, like 40 minutes? So they just needed to kill an hour of Raw. And after seeing so many reruns on Raw, I'm actually happy that we got to see some matches. You're right, it was a little too much that it was like a DQ, and then another match. It was a little ridiculous, but at least it was fresh matches. And I'll take fresh matches over rerun matches any day.
This was a rerun match from WrestleMania.
It was a rematch. It wasn't a rerun where it's like, this is just a taped match and they're showing you again.
It was a rerun match from WrestleMania Night 2. Not even Night 1. We saw it Sunday, and then they gave it to us again on Monday in 3 different ways. That's stupid. They killed 40 minutes with a match that they gave us the day before on their supposed biggest show of the year. It's outrageous. If there was a live crowd, they never would have stood for that. That never would have worked with a live crowd. They would have booed that whole thing out of the building, as they should have. Aleister Black beating Apollo Crews. Very long match. It was okay. But again, you knew where it was going. Aleister's not losing. Apollo is a jabroni at this point. It was just a match for match's sake. There was no point to it. And then we moved on. You have the brand new tag team of Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. They make a big deal about them being a tag team now. Gee, I wonder if they're going to lose. Nope. They beat Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. Obviously, just another match for match's sake. Then you move on. Seth Rollins versus an unknown man. Gee, I wonder if this unknown man's going to pull a 1-2-3 kid on Seth Rollins. But of course he's not going to pull a 1-2-3 kid on Seth Rollins, because this is boring old WWE, and Seth Rollins beat this guy for no particular reason, because Seth Rollins, he needs an enhancement match because he's not built strong enough. We need to build him back up. Seth Rollins really needed that enhancement. By the way, Kevin Owens broke Seth Rollins' undefeated streak of WrestleMania. I think he'd won 6 straight at WrestleMania, and Kevin Owens beating him the first time in 7 WrestleManias that Seth Rollins came up on the losing end.
He wasn't undefeated, though.
He wasn't?
No, he lost to Randy Orton.
Oh, so why did somebody tell me he was undefeated? It was only the second loss of his career?
Yeah.
All right. Well, whatever. Good win for Kevin Owens. Who cares? Nia Jax beat Deonna Purrazzo, and it's like, yeah, of course Nia Jax. She's coming back. It's her first match back. Gee, I wonder if she's going to lose. But of course she's not going to lose. She's going to beat Deonna Purrazzo. And then there's a guy called Brendan Vick in the ring, and I'm like, who's Brendan Vick? And Humberto Carrillo comes out, and I'm like, oh, okay. It was just a Raw full of enhancement matches. There was nothing good on this thing. It was all enhancement matches, and then Drew McIntyre and Big Show. And I didn't think Drew McIntyre was going to lose the title to Big Show after beating Brock Lesnar. And I saw about 7 minutes of the Big Show's Netflix show, and I was like, that's enough of that. I'd rather watch Austin Theoretical and Hector Garza wrestle Crime Time than watch more of the Big Show Netflix show, okay? As bad as that match was, and as much as they overkilled it on WrestleMania and Raw, that Big Show TV show with the laugh track, whew, I did not like that. That was not good. If you like that show, you probably like the Firefly Funhouse too. You probably think Bray Wyatt is a tremendous character, and his gimmick is great, and he's a great talker, and oh, what a promo. Cuts better promos than The Rock or Steve Austin ever could. You know, Bray Wyatt does what Mankind could never really do. That's probably what you think if you like that Big Show TV show. My goodness.
I haven't been able to watch it yet, or the main event movie. I think that debuted on Netflix as well this week. But I'll give it a chance at least, and I'll probably review it on Dave and Johnny next week.
Look, I love the Big Show. I'm a huge fan. I think he's one of the greatest big guys to ever live. He's in my top 5 of big men in the history of pro wrestling. I love him. I think he's a great talent. World's largest athlete. Tremendous guy. But, yeah, that show is not good. It's not a good show.
I'll still give it a shot, at least, for the big show.
Well, you're giving it a shot. Good for you, Big Johnny. Okay, the Triple H 25th anniversary celebration starts in 2 weeks on SmackDown. They aired this whole package, and they're like, in 2 weeks on SmackDown, there will be a Triple H 25th anniversary celebration. But this will be the beginning of the celebration. Is this going to be like a weeks-long festivities to celebrate the gamer, the cerebral assassin, the king of kings?
Well, I had to expect a lot of video packages, right, throughout the whole show. Pretty much a tribute to Triple H, the whole show practically. People talking about how good Triple H is, because we need to hear that, of course. And I'm thinking maybe there might be like a ceremony for Triple H, and maybe, just maybe, it'll lead to a match for him at the pay-per-view.
Does he wrestle Drew for the title?
I mean, do we really want to see that? I don't want to see that. I don't know who he would really wrestle at this point. It's kind of tough.
Like, we're struggling to find options for Drew McIntyre right now. Him and Triple H would be all right. Like, I think that's the best option. It'd be a good way to put Drew over, have him beat Triple H.
It's a good point, but it's on SmackDown, so it seems kind of off, right?
Starts on SmackDown. It's going to be on Raw, too, and probably NXT.
See, I could see it maybe end with someone from NXT, because you see Triple H was involved in Ciampa and Gargano. So maybe he'll be involved with someone from NXT.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what this whole Triple H celebration is all about. It's kind of ridiculous, but hey, what are you going to do? The Revival have been released by the WWE. I think they're probably headed for AEW, but AEW's taped a bunch of their shows until mid-May, so don't expect the Revival to just pop up on AEW TV because, most of those shows are already recorded unless they want to squeeze them in for some reason. But I think, you wait until you're good and ready and you have a feud and a plan to bring in the Revival. Not sure what you call them. I don't think you can call them the Revival, but I think AEW will bring them in, and them and the Young Bucks could have a tremendous feud. The Bucks and the Revival were kind of having a feud over YouTube and Twitter for a while when they were in separate companies. Now that they're in the same company, they can actually have matches, which is really what this is all about. So that's pretty good. What do you call them, though? FTR?
Well, if you check yeah, I think they're automatically called FTR. They already have a new T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees already, which you can buy. And apparently they have new names as well. Their Twitter handles changed as well, so both with brand new names.
Oh, like they have new first names? Because they can't be
like Dash. Yeah, they can't exactly be like that, but I think like one's like Cash Wheeler, I think.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what kind of names they get when they debut in AEW, but the Revival totally done, gone with the WWE. Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro in a Money in the Bank qualifier. I think Daniel Bryan probably wins. Bryan probably gets in the Money in the Bank, right?
Well, it's win-win either way, right? You get Daniel Bryan in the match, you get Cesaro in the match. Both of them are good talents. It's just you think Bryan has a better shot of winning the match, so you'd rather Bryan.
I hope he does win the match. I mean, at this point, I don't assume Bryan's going to get anything in the WWE because I'm a Daniel Bryan fan and I kind of understand how it goes right now. But, man, he's so good. He should win Money in the Bank. Then he should become the champion. And then that's it. And then we're good. He's a champion. Everything's right in the world.
Well, we've seen on his matches so far, like for the empty arena matches, I find his matches stand out, I think, the most so far in WWE. So yeah. I think you need him on as many times as possible on your show because he's just such a great talent. However, you have top fans, so it's hard to believe they're going to give him the Money in the Bank kind of cheap kind of win at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but you never know. Daniel Bryan, he takes shortcuts. His character changes really quickly. You never know. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, not the only Money in the Bank qualifier. Naomi taking on Dana Brooke as well. I think Naomi winds up winning this because Dana Brooke seems like she's involved in some sort of tag team thing with Carmella. I don't really understand this. Like, Carmella and Dana Brooke got Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to agree to a tag team match, right? Because Alexa and Nikki Cross are the new women's tag team champions. They agreed to a match at some point for the titles on SmackDown this week, but then a couple segments later, they announced Dana Brooke next week versus Naomi in a Money in the Bank qualifier. So I guess the tag team title match is not going to be next week on SmackDown. Why did they do that promo this week? What was that?
Well, they have to match, right? Because there's no heat whatsoever. There's no rivalry. So there's got to be a reason why they have that match in the first place. And plus, they have these qualifying matches. So they're trying to get everything explained with the limited amount of television that they have, apparently.
I guess so. And I guess we'll have to wait for that tag team title match for another couple weeks. Elsewhere on SmackDown, Sheamus beat a guy called Cal Bloom in a squash match. And Miz and Morrison rapped. That was all-time terrible. That promo was very, very bad. The Usos thankfully interrupted that, and so did the New Day. And next week on SmackDown, it will be another triple threat match with singles wrestlers for the tag team titles for some odd reason. Continuing what we had at WrestleMania, where it was Jimmy Uso, John Morrison, and Kofi Kingston in a triple threat ladder match for the tag titles. Next week on SmackDown, it'll just be a triple threat match. It'll be The Miz defending the SmackDown tag team titles against Big E from New Day and Jey Uso from the Usos in a triple threat match. Can't we just have the wrestling match already, like a triple threat tag team? Well, what are we waiting for here? Miz was on SmackDown. Why is this match not happening?
Well, they stated that it wasn't fair that the other half weren't in the match, so now the other half have to be in the match. I think it's stupid because, again, this is for the tag team titles. It's just ridiculous that a three-way could produce tag team champions. The fact that they did it once was ridiculous. You're doing it twice? Very stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. Speaking of dumb, Dolph Ziggler beat Tucky, my man Tucky, this week after a super kick. And next week we will have what we're all waiting for, the Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose clearing of the air on SmackDown, which will no doubt devolve into some sort of brawl between Mandy and Sonya and probably Otis and Dolph Ziggler. Big Johnny North. We also had the debut on the main roster of the Forgotten Sons. How long until they are completely forgotten and disappeared?
I want to say maybe 2 or 3 months, because I mean they need to fill up TV time now, right? So you got to keep them around for that. But they definitely seem like a team that you're familiar with, Sanity. Oh, they didn't last too long on SmackDown.
I compared them to Sanity on Twitter. I was like, how long until these guys are the next Sanity, and just completely disappeared from TV? Sanity came up, the group led by Eric Young. Good, solid Canadian wrestler. He had a good little group there behind him, and they did absolutely nothing with them. This group comes up, similar gimmick, kind of whatever guys. They look angry. You don't really know why. You don't really understand what their deal is. They're the Forgotten Sons. And, they beat the Lucha House Party, but everybody beats Lucha House Party, even though Lucha House Party are some of the most talented wrestlers on the roster. Go figure. But, yeah, Forgotten Sons show up, and, I don't know who any of them are. One of them is Blake, right, from Blake and Murphy?
Right. One of them's Riker.
From Riker and Stryker? What are you talking about? Who's Riker?
Oh, he's just a guy from NXT. Apparently he used to be a Marine.
Yeah, there's a lot of Marines, So did Lacey Evans, Good for him. Thanks for the service and all that. Big Johnny North, thank you for your service on this show. When can people see you in the ring? When is your next match?
Well, originally it was scheduled for August 14th, but it seems Montreal has pushed things back to August 31st. So right now, September 19th. But keep checking out the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Facebook page for all the information when there will be a new show. And also on another note, just like to give a shout out and a happy birthday to our buddy Jeremy Prophet, Jeremy Barnoff. Happy birthday, man. Hope you're having a good one.
Yeah, happy birthday to our main man, Jeremy Prophet. For more on the big man, Johnny North, follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dave Simon MMA. Go to our website, ringsidereport.net. Watch Dave and Johnny live every Friday. We go live. We answer your questions on the Super Chat, on the chat, whatever you want to do. 12:45 Eastern every Friday at 12:45 in the afternoon. Johnny and I go live for Dave and Johnny Live, talking about pro wrestling. We talked about the dark side of the ring. Brawl for All this week on the show. And we will be back next week for more Wrestling Uncensored. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Thanks for everybody helping us out on the radio side as well. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.